Hello Stampers, today I'm excited to share a fun class which I'm calling a 5-sheet wonder card class using Fresh as a Daisy designer series paper and also the stamp set and the dies that go with that. We are going to make these 5 cards today, so this might be a little longer video than what I normally do. And I'm going to be using the Cheerful Daisies stamp set, also the dies that go with it, which I'll show you in a second. And these are the 5 patterns of DSP that we'll be using, and that's the flip side, and it's not necessarily the flip side of the card next to it, but these are the 2 I put together. And this DSP highlights the new in colors for 2023-25: Copper Clay, Wild Wheat, Boho Blue, Moody Mauve, and Pebbled Path. And it's absolutely stunning. The 6th piece of DSP, actually get 2 of each one, is this one. And I'm going to do a part 2 of this video, hopefully later in this week, that shows another 1-sheet wonder you can use for this last sheet of paper. So the first thing that I want to do is show you how I cut my cardstock. So this is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and first of all I'm going to score it at 5.5 inches this way. So the scoring blade is the lighter colored one, and so I'm going to score it at 5.5. This is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to cut it at 4.25. And so now I'm going to use the dark one for that. I apologize, you can't see this whole piece of paper. But if I zoom out, you're going to see my messy workstation. So that's just how we're going to do it. All right, so this is 11 inches by 4.25. And now what I'm going to do is just cut off one side at 1.5 inches. So there, 1.5 inches, using the black one. All right, so this is basically my card. You're just going to fold it in half, and you want to save this to make the flap. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. I did cut out all the rest of them to show you. And what I wanted to show you too is when you take your 12 by 12 piece of DSP, this is the pattern that you're going to use. You're going to cut each square like this. You're going to cut it at this is 4 inches high by 3 3/4. So basically you can get 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of one piece of DSP, and then you're going to have 6 strips left over, which are 4 inches by 2 inches. They're going to look like this. So 6 strips left over. So that's the basic pattern. And now I'm going to get started on making the card. So the first one we're going to do is, and I already lost it. Oh, there it is. This one. And it's pretty easy. Oh, before I do that, I wanted to show you how we're going to cut out the daisies with the die set. So this is the entire die set. I set it on a piece of white cardstock, which is it's a half sheet basically, so it's 5.5 by 8.5, but I actually cut an inch off, I think. And then these are the 3 scraps that we're going to use to cut the rest of it out. So I went ahead and cut that out already. So it's down here, just to speed up this video. And this is what it looks like basically. This is the whole thing cut out. And we're going to use all of this to make our 5 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and pop all these little flowers out. And that's what they look like, and we're going to use all of this. Well, that one's sticking. Work on it in a minute. I'll get the rest of these out. So I ran it through it once to make 5 cards, so it's really pretty fast. And this is just sticking a little bit, but it'll come out, hopefully. It's kind of funny, I thought I had them all pulled out, but I guess I didn't. So if they stick like this, you can always put the die back on and cut it out again, but I'm just going to fuss with it and get it out for you. There we go. All right, so there's those, and then you need these. And then I cut a leaf out and a centerpiece. And then these were the other 2 scraps you saw in there. I need this little center of mauve flower that I'm going to use, and here's another center for another flower. All right, so that's everything that we need to complete this project all cut out. And we're going to start with this one first, and that's the copper clay paper, which is so very pretty. I went ahead and cut out each one of these has one of these flaps, and that's using the Countryside corner dies. These, and I used the second from the smallest size to cut them out. And also on the inside of the card, I cut out a square, which is 4 by 4, so that you have something to write on. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down first. On the inside. And I just want, I'm just going to hover it because you want like, I think that's an 1/8 inch border all the way around. Then on this side, I'm using this strip, which remember it was one of the 6 smaller strips that you cut out here, 2 inches by 4 inches. And it's not actually the flip side of this piece of paper. So, but I thought it matched the best with this card. So I didn't necessarily use the reverse on these cards. My seal is not cooperating. There we go. So just putting 4 on, and I'm going to put this on the corner here, once again about an 1/8 inch all the way around, and there. So that's the inside of the card. Then for the top of the card, these are really easy, by the way, these cards. I mean, the video, like I said, is longer, but we're literally making 5 cards, and it's pretty fast. And if you use the whole pack up, you could make 30 cards. Actually, you could make 60 cards because you would use both pieces of paper. So each 12 by 12, well, each 12 by 12 will make 6 cards. So that's the basic base, and we are going to stamp thank you. I used Pebbled Path on most of these because it's a little bit more muted than if I used a black. So I did stamp this over to the right, and I kept all the sentiments pretty neutral so that well, I just like to do thank you cards, but you of course could say anything on your card that you wanted to. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp or tape this down, and I kind of put it towards the bottom and just in a little ways, about, I don't know, maybe right there. I don't know how to, I didn't measure it, I just eyeballed it. All right, so now to make this flower, I'm gonna take these things that I already cut out. This is the bottom base. Like I said, I used every single die. Let me close this real fast. Every single die in the Daisy, Cheerful Daisy dies. It was kind of funny the first time I used them. I didn't understand how they worked, and so I kind of messed it up. But I finally figured out how it works, and this is how it works. All right, so you can actually triple layer these. So you can fiddle with it and find out which way is the right way. Let's go this way. There we go. Gosh. All right, so 1, 2, and then this one, you probably can't even see it. This one goes on the very top. Like that. All right, then behind I used the little bit of whatever this is called. I don't even, it kind of looks like fern or something, and I used these leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. Now I'm going to use glue for this because I think it works a little better. I'll glue my flower together. There we go. A little bit of an eye test to figure out how it goes. So it's good to use glue for this, then you can wiggle stuff around until you get it just right where you want it. And then this is going to go on the big background. I'm just going to put, you don't want a ton of glue or it's going to ooze out and then you'll have a big old mess. So there we go. Looks perfect. All right, so there's my flower, and for the center I cut out this out with copper clay, and I'll go ahead and glue that on. Yeah, that's a good thing about glue. I have a minute or two before it sticks on there and becomes permanent. So that looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and put this fern down, or whatever you want to call it, this little element. Right about there. And I'm going to put the leaf maybe right there. All right. Good. And I didn't put much glue on because I didn't want it to ooze out, so it's not sticking very well. But once I put this flower on, it's going to hold it in nicely because it's going to go right over the top of it. And done. Very pretty card, quite easy. So the first one is done, and I will set that there. Maybe I'll set it aside. The next one we're going to do is this one using the Moody Mauve, which looks like this. Now my fingers are all sticky, so everything's going to stick to me. I think I'll just put glue on this. It'll be a little faster. For the inside, remember that was 4x4. And oh, see, this is actually the flip side of this paper, so I actually did one that was the flip side. That'll go down first. On the inside. There we go. And I'm going to stamp thank you on this one as well, but I'm going to stamp it over to the left instead of the right, because my flower is going to go to the right this time instead of the left. And once again, I'm using Pebbled Path. Whoops, ran away. There we go, it's stuck to it. And yeah, using the same sentiment, which is why I did this one next, just so that we could use the same stamp. And I did kind of mess up the angle of the thank you, but it's all right. It's a handmade card. All right, and in this case, I'm going to use the this leaf, which is the wild wheat. I'm going to put it right above the thank you, like there. And then for this flower, we're going to use this one and this one. Make sure I know which way it goes before I start gluing it. Yeah, it goes that way. The way to tell is these are kind of shorter and these are longer, and these are shorter and longer. So that's kind of how you can look and tell which direction it goes. You can also just fiddle with it like I did the first time, which I should have just looked at it and thought about it. All right, so there is the first 2 layers. There we go, the 3 little ones. Just looking for those 3 little knobs on top. And then on the very top is this piece, which I'll pop out the center. Once again, matching up the 3 little shorter ones on the top. These 3 up there. And then for the center, if you remember, I did a Moody Mauve flower, and that I'm just going to use the center for that, and I think I'm just going to put glue inside of there rather than on the back of this, because like I said, my fingers are so sticky. And then I'm just sliding this right in the center and glue it on my card, and then the second card will be done. There we go. Oops, gosh. You know what? I forgot to put this on, so I might have a hard time getting that up. But I'm going to do it. It's too bad you guys couldn't say, hey, stop what you're doing. You forgot to tape it down. I did sort of destroy that card. Hopefully it looks okay when we're done. But it actually will. It's pretty forgiving. So you can't even tell. That looks yucky, but I'm going to cover it with that. And other than it looking a little bit mangled, it'll be fine. So it just goes to show demonstrators aren't perfect either. But it still will look fine. It'll look cute. There. Alrighty, done. 2 done. Let's see if I can remember to do it right next time. Alright, the next one we're going to use the Pebbled Path. And this one, instead of using the cutouts, we're going to actually stamp and emboss. So this one uses a few more supplies. I'll go ahead and assemble the card first. This time I'm going to remember to put my TSP down. Duh. Since this is a 4x4 square, then you don't have to really worry about which direction it goes. And this is not the flip side of this paper, it's the flip side of that paper. But I just kind of looked at all the papers and decided which one I thought went the best with the DSP, and so that's how I landed on it. All right, so we're gonna, now this is not a square, so we have to make sure it goes the right way because it's 3 3/4 by 4. So there, like that. All right, now we're going to set this aside and work on this little tab. And first I think I'll put my thank you on, and then I'll emboss it. You know, I'm going to wait on the thank you so I don't mess it up. All right, when I emboss it, I'm taking my embossing buddy, and I'm just going to put a little bit of, I think this is cornstarch, on it. And that makes sure that the powder doesn't go where it shouldn't go. And I take a little clipboard and I cover it with foil for my, when I emboss, just so I don't get my hands, you know, burn my hands. I'm taking my Versamark pad, which has seen a better day, but it works just fine. And I'm going to stamp it. You could also use your Whisper White stamp pad if you have one. Either one works just as well. And this is my white embossing powder. I like to put it in little containers. And actually I'm going to unhook this for a second. And I have these, I got these on Amazon, these little wooden spoons that I put the powder on and tap it off. And there's a few strays, so you want to make sure you get these little strays off, otherwise they're just going to be, when you heat set it, they're going to stay there. So, but the embossing buddy really actually did help to give me less strays. So you always want to make sure you set your embossing powder out of the way, and also that you don't have an open stamp pad near it. Otherwise you can really easily get powder in your pad, which is kind of annoying. All right, so now this is my embossing gun. It's going to get a little loud. I apologize. Just hold it down with my scissors. And I'm going to heat set it. And you can tell when it changes color. It's starting already. There we go. Do you see how it turns really white? That means it's done. And you want to make sure that the whole thing gets done. Otherwise, the powder will just crumble off. And that's not happy when that happens. All right. I had a rogue embossing gun there I had to go get. This is just going off. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my thank you. The reason I didn't stamp it before is because then I would have had a little bit of a wet thank you, and I could have ended up having embossing powder sticking to that, and I didn't really want that. So I waited. I don't know why there's hair all over this. I don't even have a cat, but who knows. All right, so I'm going to kind of put this towards the top. That looks great. Now you want to make sure you go straight down and straight up when you stamp. You can see I did not do that here, and I got a little line. But this one I did just perfectly, yay! So it looks really good. All right, and once again, I'm using the pebbled path for that. So before I do my flower centers, I want to tape this down, and the reason is that I'm going to be using enamel effects for the flower centers, and it takes a little while to dry, so I want to just make sure my card is completely done so I can put it on and then not touch it until it dries. So this is the enamel effects. It comes in 3 colors, red and black and white, I believe. It comes as a 3-pack. And you just want to put a little on. You don't want to put too much on. And I'm kind of pushing it around with the tip. I'm just squeezing a little out and pushing it around, and it really makes a pretty flower centerpiece. It's wet there, but it'll dry. I don't know how well you can see this, and it looks quite pretty when it dries. All right, so I'm going to set this one on top, and that one is done. And now we're going to go on to the next card, which is the Wild Wheat card. And once again, I'm going to do my paper on the inside, which really I could have done, I guess, just to get this. Is there two of those? Yeah, there are two. I thought so. I should have probably done this in advance, but you're getting the whole effect of how long it would take you to make these, so I guess that's not a bad thing. And putting my 4x4 inch square a little bit off kilter, so let's see if I can straighten it up a little bit. And I'm using the back of the copper clay, which is that really pretty teal color, which is Peacock, I think it's Peacock Party or Peacock something or other, which is a returning in color for the color refresh, and one of my favorite colors. I think it's so pretty. All right, so there's that, and I will tape this down. Anyway, I think I said I didn't really like the wild wheat at first, but the more I work with it, the more I like it. It's really a pretty color. And let's see, we're making this card now. So we're gonna do Thinking of You down on the bottom left. Try to get a little glue off my hands. Using the Pebbled Path again. Thinking of You. Now we're going to assemble the last remaining flower. Which is kind of like a coneflower look. Which my coneflowers are in full bloom right now. They look gorgeous. And honestly, I think they're my favorite flower. I really like coneflowers. So here's the third layer. So having 3 layers just really pops these flowers. It makes them look, you know, almost real. It was so easy because I just ran it through one time. I used every die on a piece of white paper, cardstock, ran it through, and all right, so I did a center already out of wild wheat, and I'll tape it down, and then I'm going to color it. I used my wild wheat, the dark one, I believe, sticking to my hand. I'll check in a sec. So I'll put that on there, and then, yeah, the dark wild wheat, that's what I thought. I'll put this up so that the glue goes down to the bottom. I like to store these upside down so that the glue is always at the bottom ready to go. I'm going to use my brush tip. There's a brush tip and a fine tip. I'm going to use a brush tip, and I just wanted this to be a little bit darker, the flower center, so that it popped. And I'll go ahead and tape this down now. So I'm just putting glue on half of it. Putting it about a 1/2 inch up or so. And then I'll put my flower on there. And we are 4 cards down and 1 to go. So by coloring that center, it kind of makes it pop off the wild wheat band. So I think that that's a good thing to do. All right, so that's card 4, and we are on our last card. I can reach it over here, and that's using the boho blue. And here it is. You know, I'm just realizing I don't have all the stamp pads that I need for this, so I'm probably, oh, well, okay, here we go. I got the whisper white. Okay, I can do this. Yay. All right. I guess I wasn't really thinking through this last card very well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and glue down my white inside. There we go. Use my little piece of 4x2 DSP, which the back of this one is the green. Who knew, huh? But it looks really good with this card. And I'll put my DSP on there. There it is. Disappeared. Oops, see, wrong way. There we go. I think I wanted to go this. No, I like it this way. That's a good thing about glue. You got a few minutes to be indecisive. And reposition a little. And there we go. That one is basically done. And now I want to do stamp this on here. And you can either use Versamark or boho blue. Let's see if I can reach my boho blue pad. I can. All right, so I'll do that first. Oh, there it is. Gosh. Okay, people, I'm losing it. All right, so I'm going to use a solid. This is a 2-step stamping. So I'm stamping it up on the boho blue, and I think I want to rotate it a little more. There we go. And then that's all I need of that. I'll go ahead and do the copper clay next, which is so pretty with the boho blue. And I'll do my sentiment, which is upside down. This one I'll wipe off the edges of that so I don't get it on my card, which would not be a happy day. That's what happens when you don't go straight up and straight down like I told you to. There we go. And I'll do the flower center next. There we go. And then last, we're going to use Whisper White. I don't remember if don't think I embossed that. It doesn't feel embossed, so I must have just stamped it with the Whisper White. It's been a while since I made this card. I've been meaning to do a video for ages, but watching my 2 little granddaughters keeps me so busy. I don't get to make nearly as many as I want to. And I had this crazy idea. I just had my 20-year anniversary with Stampin' Up, and I was going to make 20 videos, 20 days in a row, but that quickly fell to the wayside. So yeah, I'm just going to get out what I can. All right, a little hard to see if I lined it up, but that's not too bad, is it? So 2-step stamping is hard to really make it perfect, but I don't think that it really needs to be perfect. Alrighty. Nice. And so you could heat set that, but since I dropped my heat tool, I'm not going to, because I probably couldn't reach it if I wanted to. So I'm just going to be careful, because that's going to smear. It's slow drying ink, and so it's going to take a little while to dry, so I just want to be careful not to touch it, or you could give it a quick shot with your heat gun like I said. But mine, like I said, is over there on the floor, so there's not much I can do about that. And oops, I think I got glue on there. There we go. There we go. We are done. We did all 5 of these cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Aren't they gorgeous? And if you used all 5 sheets of DSP, you could make 6 cards per DSP sheet, so that's 30. If you use all of the sheets, you could literally make 60 cards. Probably help if you could see this better. All right, so thank you for joining me today. If you like what you see, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and watch for my next video that I'm going to show you how to make one sheet wonder using this beautiful piece of paper. All right.